cooperating with other professional colleagues. Now, you're going to be not just working as a team with your other teachers. Who are the other professional colleagues you're going to be working with as a teacher? Social workers, nurses, police liaison officers, child psychologists. You know, you're going to be working, not often, regularly perhaps, but occasionally you will be working with them. What are the challenges for you about working with other professions?
Especially with social workers, record keeping, the things that you disclose to social workers could make a big difference in that child's well-being at home. So you've got a lot of responsibility put on you to keep up to date and correct information about the child as well.
There will be particular attention that you will need to pay to things like keeping records and the confidentiality of those records. Yeah, that's a really important point. In recent years, teachers are increasingly challenged by working with other professional groups outside of school, other agencies. And one of the things that they need to resolve are the limits of their responsibility in a particular area. If they see children coming into school looking unkempt or unwashed, out of the best of intent, leaving aside the best intentions of what they think, what are the procedures and practices that are established where they refer and confer with other professional people? We know you're all beginners at this, so don't be frightened about disclosing what your concerns are. Go on.
On my last attachment, I worked with a little lad who had a one-to-one support assistant, and she was part-time, but because he'd only just moved to the school, the teacher found this difficulty, and she said he looks to her, he's confused where his responsibility lies. If he was in trouble and his one-to-one told him off because she sat with him, he'd look for the teacher to see if the teacher had noticed, and he was confused in himself. Is it more serious if Miss So-and-so tells me off or if the teacher tells me off?
They may be teaching assistants. They may be quite highly trained teaching assistants, but you're going to have to manage them. I mean, there's another one. You're not going. Your management skills are going to be really developed very, very quickly. And as a young person, there's a real challenge for you. And I think you're right there, sorting out responsibilities. I mean, look at the situation you might have with a social worker of a child who's maybe at risk through neglect or what have you. How do you balance? How will you know what your responsibilities are compared to these people outside of school? How will you know about that?
There has to be some sort of meeting that takes place so everyone is aware of what their role is, centred around that child, so there's no ambiguity or duplication, and on the need-to-know basis with information that you might have to record.
Yeah.
So you need to be clear of the boundaries, that needs to be set up. So it's all about this interagency working.
You're having to manage somebody that probably knows this child better than you do. And they could have worked with them in the school for years before you arrived. And you're having to tell them what you think they should do. And I don't like the idea of having to do that.
Right. What are you going to do about it?
I think what I need to do is speak with the person like a lot more than somebody that's more confident than telling somebody how to manage something, and then do it through discussion rather than me telling someone how I think they should be doing it.
Increasingly, as teachers become more experienced and more mature, they will realise that workloads, while they will be very distracting, actually they will need to focus on the essential nature of productive and effective relationships with other professional people like social workers, for example. That however busy the social workers are or however busy they are, that actually there are some essential professional relationship procedures that they will need to adhere to and they will want to adhere to in the best interests of the children.